Good evening, my dear friends. Good evening. It warms my heart to see so many of you here tonight, eager, I trust, to explore the marvelous power that resides within each and every one of you. A power so profound, so immense, it is the very creative force of the universe itself. And tonight, we're going to talk about tapping into this power in what I call the least effort way. Now, that might sound like a contradiction to some. The world teaches you that great things require great struggle, immense toil, sweat and tears. And yes, in the world of Caesar, on the physical plane, effort is often expended. But we are not here tonight to discuss the limitations of the physical world, are we? No. We are here to discuss the cause of the physical world. And that cause, my friends, is your own wonderful human imagination. That is God in man. That is Christ in you, your hope of glory. You see, the world is yourself pushed out. Everything you behold, though it appears solid, though it appears independent of you, is but a reflection of the activity of your own consciousness. What you are conscious of being, that you will experience. It is law, not a suggestion, not a hopeful theory, but a mutable law. Now, when I say least effort way, I don't mean laziness. Oh no. True spiritual work requires diligence, but it is a diligence of attention, a discipline of imagination, not a wrestling with external forces. The effort comes in changing your consciousness, in daring to assume that you are already the person you desire to be, experiencing the things you desire to experience. The least effort part comes because once that assumption is faithfully made, and you persist in it, the world rearranges itself, often in ways you could not have consciously devised, to bring your assumption to pass. It has no choice. I remember a lady who wrote to me. She desired a new home, a very specific kind of home, in a particular neighborhood. She'd been trying everything the world told her, working extra hours, scouring listings, talking to agents, becoming quite frantic, really, chuckles softly, and the more she struggled, the further away her dream home seemed. She came to one of my lectures, much like this one, and heard me speak of the power of assumption. I told her, my dear, stop all that frantic doing. Tonight, before you sleep, simply assume you are already sleeping in that new home. Don't think of it, think from it. What would it feel like? What would you see from your bedroom window if you were truly there? What textures would you feel? What sounds would you hear? She was a little skeptical, as many are at first. It seemed too simple, too easy, after all her worldly effort, but she was also tired of the struggle. So, she decided to try it, for a week, every night, as she drifted off to sleep, that marvelous state, akin to sleep, SATS, as I call it, where the conscious mind is subdued, and the subconscious is most receptive. She imagined herself in her desired home. She felt the coolness of the sheets she'd chosen. She saw the moonlight filtering through the specific trees she knew were outside the window of that dream house. She even imagined the faint, pleasant scent of new paint. She lived there, in her imagination. And what happened? Well, about 10 days later, a series of what the world would call coincidences unfolded. An old acquaintance she hadn't seen in years called her out of the blue, mentioned they were moving unexpectedly, and asked if she knew anyone looking for a house in that very neighborhood. The house, my friends, was almost identical to the one she had been imagining, down to the color of the shutters. She secured it with an ease that astonished her. Standard, least effort. She changed her consciousness, and her world conformed. You see, the creative act is finished in imagination. It is finished, as the good book tells us. When you truly assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you dare to believe You are already that which you desire to be. You have performed the creative act. The rest is simply the unfolding of that imaginal act in the three-dimensional world. It's like planting a seed. You don't keep digging it up to see if it's growing, do you? Chuckles, no. You plant it, you water it with your faith, which is simply loyalty to your unseen reality, and you allow it to sprout in its own season. The least effort way is to go directly to the end. Don't concern yourself with the how, the when, or the who. That is the business of Caesar, the business of the outer world. Your business is to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. If you desire success, what would the feeling be like if you were wonderfully successful now? Would you feel relief, joy, confidence, gratitude? Capture that feeling, embody it, walk in the assumption that you are successful, and the means will appear. I often tell the story of my own desire to travel to Barbados to see my family many years ago. I was in New York with no money, absolutely no visible means of making that trip. My old teacher, Abdullah, simply told me, "You are in Barbados." He didn't tell me how to get a ticket or where the money would come from. He just insisted, every time I spoke of my desire, "You are in Barbados, Neville." Well, that irritated me at first. Laughs, I wanted practical steps, but he was teaching me this very principle of least effort. He was forcing me to live in the end. So, every night, I would imagine myself sleeping in my old family home in Barbados. I would feel the tropical breeze, hear the sound of the ocean, smell the familiar scent of the island. I walked the streets of Barbados in my imagination. I spoke to my sister in my imagination, feeling her presence. And then, one morning, a letter arrived from my brother Victor, with a steamship ticket and a small sum of money, urging me to come home for Christmas. It seemed to come out of the blue, but was it? Or was it the natural, effortless outpicturing of my sustained imaginal state? I tell you, it was the latter. The how took care of itself once I had successfully occupied the end. This is why the state akin to sleep is so potent. In that drowsy, relaxed state, your conscious, reasoning mind, the one that raises all the doubts and questions the hows, is quieted. Your imagination is then free to impress your subconscious mind, which is the womb of creation. What you impress upon it with feeling and conviction, it will bring forth. So, how do you do it? It's beautifully simple. Decide what you want, not a vague wish, but a clear, definite desire. Then, construct a short, imaginal scene that implies the fulfillment of that desire. Not the desire itself, but an event after it has been fulfilled. If you wanted a promotion, you wouldn't imagine asking for it. You'd imagine a friend congratulating you, or seeing your new title on your office door. If you wanted to be married, you wouldn't imagine the proposal. Perhaps you'd feel the wedding ring on your finger, solid and real. Make the scene short, vivid, and full of sensory richness. What would you see, hear, touch, smell, taste, even and most importantly, what would you feel? The feeling is the secret. You must generate the feeling that would be yours if your wish were already a fact. Then, as you are drifting off to sleep, immobilize your physical body, get comfortable, and loop that short scene over and over in your imagination, like a lullaby, until it takes on the tones of reality, until you feel yourself actually participating in it. Persist until you drift off to sleep in that state, saturated with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That, my friends, is the least effort way to impress the subconscious. You are not wrestling. You are not striving. You are surrendering to your desire, accepting it as already done. It's a deep internal shift. Now, some of you might say, "Neville, I try that, but my mind wanders, or I fall asleep too quickly." That's perfectly normal at first. It takes a little practice to discipline the attention. Don't be discouraged. Treat it as a delightful experiment. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back. If you fall asleep, wonderful. You've likely carried that feeling into the deeper realms of sleep where creation takes place. The key is persistence and a light touch. Don't make it a chore. Make it a joyful anticipation of your desire fulfilled. And what about during the day? Once you've performed your imaginal act in sats, you must learn to walk by faith, not by sight. This means that even if your senses deny the fulfillment of your wish, you remain loyal to your unseen reality. You live in the end psychologically. If you assumed the feeling of being wealthy, how would you think and act throughout your day within reason? Of course, don't go spending money you don't physically have yet in a foolish way. You would carry yourself with a certain confidence, a certain ease. You wouldn't be constantly worrying about lack. This is where another marvelous technique comes in, what I call revision. This is a powerful tool for the least effort way because it allows you to change the past in your imagination, and by doing so, you change its effects in the present and future. If something unpleasant happened during your day, an argument, a disappointment, a mistake, don't let it fester. At the end of your day, before your SATS session, replay that scene in your mind's eye, but rewrite it. Change it to what you wished had happened. If you had an argument, revise it so that it ended in understanding and reconciliation. If you received bad news, revise it to good news. Feel the feelings that would accompany that revised, ideal scene. Do this until it feels real and natural. You see, memory is not fixed. Your past exists only in your imagination. By revising it, you are impressing your subconscious with a new pattern, and it will outpicture that new pattern. It's like pruning a plant. You snip away the dead or undesirable branches so the healthy ones can flourish. Revision cleans up the errors of the day and ensures you are not carrying negative states forward. It truly is a way of redeeming the time. I had a student, a businessman, who was having terrible trouble with a particular client. Every interaction was tense, argumentative. He was on the verge of losing a significant contract. He started practicing revision. Every night, he would revise his interactions with this client. He imagined them having cordial, productive conversations, shaking hands on mutually agreeable terms. He persisted in this nightly revision, feeling the relief and satisfaction of a harmonious business relationship. Within 2 weeks, the client called him, apologized for his previous difficult behavior, citing personal problems that had now been resolved. You see how everyone is, you pushed out. The client's behavior changed as my student's assumption about him changed, and the contract was signed on even better terms than originally hoped. Least effort. He didn't fight the client. He changed his own consciousness regarding the client. This brings me to a vital point. Everyone is you pushed out. The people in your world are reflecting back to you the states of consciousness you entertain. If you assume someone is difficult, they will play that part for you. If you assume they are cooperative and kind, you give them the opportunity to embody that. This isn't about controlling others, it's about controlling your own assumptions about them, and thus, about yourself in relation to them. It's a profound responsibility, but also a liberating one. You are not a victim of circumstance or of other people's whims. You are the operant power. So, the least effort way is not about avoiding action in the world. Inspired action will often follow a successful imaginal act. You'll get an idea, a hunch, an urge to call someone or go somewhere. Follow those gentle nudges. They are the bridge of incidents leading you to the fulfillment of your desire. But the primary work, the creative work, is done within, in your imagination. Don't get bogged down in trying to make it happen. Your only job is to make it real within yourself. Assume it, feel it, persist in it, and then let it go, trusting that the power within you knows the way. I've had people ask, Neville, what if I desire something very big, something that seems impossible? My friends, to God, which is your own wonderful human imagination, nothing is impossible. My friends, to God, which is your own wonderful human imagination, nothing is impossible. The only limitations are those you impose upon yourself through doubt or lack of faith in this indwelling power. Dare to imagine extravagantly. Dare to assume the very best for yourself and for others. What if you have conflicting desires? Clarify. What do you truly want? Sometimes we think we want one thing, but it's a means to a deeper end. Get to the core desire, the feeling you are truly seeking. And what if doubts creep in? They will. We live in a world that constantly bombards our senses with evidence contrary to our desires. When doubt arises, don't fight it, acknowledge it, and then gently return to your assumption. Remind yourself of this law. Test it with small things if you need to build your faith. Manifest a parking spot, a free cup of coffee, a call from an old friend. As you see it work in these little ways, your confidence in its power to work in bigger ways will grow. Remember, this is not about wishful thinking. This is about creative imagining. Wishful thinking is passive. It acknowledges lack. Creative imagining is active. It assumes fulfillment. It is the art of becoming aware of what you are already in a higher dimension of your being. So, tonight, as you prepare for sleep, I invite you to experiment. Choose a desire, craft your scene, enter the state akin to sleep, and feel your wish fulfilled. Do it with a sense of playful expectancy, like a child who knows their loving parent will grant their request. This power is your birthright. It is not reserved for a select few. It is inherent in every single son and daughter of God. You are a creative center. You are God individualized. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And the way to access that kingdom, the way to bring forth its treasures into your world, is through your imagination, operated with faith, with feeling, and yes, with the marvelous simplicity of the least effort way. Don't just listen to my words tonight. Take them home with you, test them, prove this law for yourselves. For the only true conviction comes from experience. And when you experience, even once, the astonishing power of your own imagination to reshape your world, you will never be the same. You will walk with a newfound confidence, a newfound peace, knowing that you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, because you are the master of your assumptions. Thank you for sharing this evening with me. Go now, and imagine beautifully for yourselves, and for all mankind. Good night.